In this video, we are going to develop GetBasket endpoint with minimal APIs and Carter. We will start with developing request and response record type. Please open the Visual Studio and go to the GetBasket endpoint. And now I'm going to create request and response object. As a request, we will get username from the request parameter. For that purpose, I am putting in here commented request object to follow the best practices. And after that, I'm going to create a GetBasket response object as a record type, public record GetBasket response, and as a response we will expect the whole shopping cart object. After that, we can define the GetBasket endpoints. In order to implement minimal API, we will implement this iCarter module interface, and iCarter module should be comes from the Carter, but we didn't install Carter yet. So as you remember that when we are developing our catalog microservices, we realized that in the catalog program CS, the Carter only scanning the operation and iCarter module interfaces for the current assembly, and we cannot give the assembly like mediator. For that purpose, we have to install Carter for each microservices where we are implementing minimal APIs. And I am going to go to the basket API and right click, manage NuGet packages, and search for the Carter and install Carter for basket microservices into the web API project. And if you double click, you can see that we have installed Carter successfully. And save this file, go to the GetBasket endpoint, and this time you can see that we can implement Carter module with using Carter statement. And also I'm going to move this using statement into the global using class. If you come here and put the global keyword in the using statement of the Carter, and if you go back to GetBasket endpoint, you can see that iCarter module now is available, and I'm going to implement the interface members, which is the addRoute method. At this point, we can check the basket microservice RESTful APIs. You can see that we are going to expose HTTP GET method with this endpoint URL, and we will get basket with username. So please open the Visual Studio, and now I am going to implement this addRoute method with add.map get method to expose HTTP GET operation, and we will specify the endpoint URL, which is the basket/username, and after that we will perform delegate handler operation. And in this delegate handler, I'm going to take as a username from the request parameters, and after that I'm going to inject iSender object, which is our mediator. So in delegate handler method, the first parameter is populate from the request parameters, and the second parameter will be injected by the ASP.NET built-in dependency injection. So I'm going to click the iSender and using mediator, and also I'm going to move this mediator to the global namespace. If you go to the global using and put in here, you can copy and paste global. And if you go back to our GetBasket endpoint classes, you can see that iSender comes in here, and now we will implement to accommodating incoming HTTP request in here. The first line, we will get the result object with passing await sender.send object. That means mediator will send any GetBasket query object, and inside of this GetBasket query we will passing the username and expecting the result object from the mediator that will be handle the query handle method and respond back to the result object. And after that, we can convert this result object as a response. For that purpose, I am going to use result.adapt method and passing the get basket response object. So how we can run this adapt method? We didn't install Mapster in the basket API because Mapster has installed in the building blocks, and since we are getting reference from the building blocks, we can access the Mapster and mediator library from the building blocks. So if you go back to GetBasket endpoint, we can return back to the client application this response object. For that purpose, I'm going to write return results dot OK response and passing the response object. We can also configure this HTTP GET endpoint with using the with methods. These are the extension method that we can configure our HTTP GET method. If you go on top of this class, you can see that we can move these mapster to our global using statement. By this way, the other operations will not be using statement into their operation. So if you go back to get basket endpoints, here you can see that we define get basket endpoint class that implements the iCarter module, and our get request takes the username as a route parameter and returns to the user basket, which means that shopping cart object from running the query handler class.